Well, if you love big whips and you never get sick of nose-wheelie clips, then I have got a present for you. It's a video blog from Mr. BQ. Do yourself a favor and tune into his YouTube.
So as I sit here hurt, I just think to myself, what do people want to listen to? What do people want to hear me blab about this time? And there's been a lot of people that have been wanting me to do a NOSEWHEELIE how-to or help teach them how to do it. So here it is. I learned how to do NOSEWHEELIEs whenever I was probably 12 years old. I had been riding for 2 years, I think, and I learned how to do it. Kind of taught myself. I watched Kenny, Travis, Kevin Windham, watched all those guys, kind of taught myself how to do it from that. So I'm going to do what I can to help you guys learn as well. And hopefully you can watch some of my clips and figure it out. So step one is getting up on top of a big hill. With consistent dirt, that's a key. If you have too rocky of dirt or sandy or hard packed slick, it just doesn't work as well. You got to have consistent tacky dirt to really teach yourself how to nose really good. But it's kind of like a wheelie. You get going up a hill, and it's easier to learn how to wheelie because you learn your balancing point. So rolling down a hill, you don't even have to have the engine running. Just roll down the hill, get that braking down, and get comfortable on the front wheel. So after you get the NOSEWHEELIEs down the hill, down pat, move on to some flat ground. But the first step on that is not just going to flat ground and just trying to NOSEWHEELIE, because you'll usually skid across it. The dirt's not usually favorable for that. So what you got to do is find a little kicker in the straightaway, or find a tabletop to maybe use to help get your front end or your back end up. If you can do that, I know it doesn't really sound like an ideal situation to hit a kicker, but you got to be careful not to hit it too fast if it's too steep of one, because you don't want to just get endoed over the bars. But if you can just roll over it a few times and kind of see how it feels, get used to it, and then work on going a little faster and NOSEWHEELIE and getting a little distance out there. But with going down the hill, you kind of got your feeling of your brake control and your front brake lever. Then you work towards the actual NOSEWHEELIE part whenever you're on the flat ground. Landing off a jump is a little bit different. It's tougher. It's something that I wouldn't recommend trying right off the bat, and it took me years and years to figure that whole thing out. But if you're going to do one, if you get that brave, don't do it on a step down or even a jump where the landing is the same size as the takeoff, because it's tough. The dirt has to be just absolutely perfect. The conditions have to be right to be able to make that work. But if you're going to start doing it, do it on a step up. Step ups are so much easier because you're almost stopped by the time you get there. You're actually slowing down, and it makes the whole process quite a bit easier. So the reason I wanted to land a dirt bike in a NOSEWHEELIE off a jump was because of Travis. I blame that fully on Travis Pastrana. He came out to ride with us and film Chapter 1, Revelation 199 at our place that we had leased whenever he was about to start riding Supercross. And I was pretty young. Not much younger than Travis, I guess, but just I was really not very good on a bike. So the possibility of me going out and trying it then was really, really bad, and really low, I guess I should say. And watching him do it though, I'll never forget that, and I really worked towards it from that day on. I wanted to be cool like Travis. whenever I got to ride with him last year at Kevin Wyndham's house, we were jumping off this triple step up and trying to land in nose wheelies. I had been over there doing it a little bit, and I had landed it a couple times, and he came over and started doing it, and he couldn't get it, and it was pretty funny to me because he didn't even realize why I started doing that in the first place. You know, he didn't get that he caused that. So afterwards, I stopped and I was like, "Hey, you don't realize that you taught me that, huh?" And he was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I watched you do it over and over, and I had to learn." So Travis was the instigator on that. Whenever you're jumping jumps and landing in nose wheelies, I also recommend the suspension being a little bit stiffer. Because if it's soft, it's going to have too much give, and there's going to be a variable in there that actually doesn't let the brakes do what they're supposed to do, and it just kind of gives. So if you stiffen up that suspension a little bit, that's another little tip that will get you to nose wheelie off them jumps a little bit better. And even nose wheelies on flat ground and kickers, if you're going faster, softer suspensions doesn't quite work as good. So luckily, I'm a little bit chunky side, so I guess my stocks or my normal moto suspension is decent. So luckily, I'm not any skinnier. Whenever you jump a jump and land in a nose wheelie, you have to think about how many fingers you use on the brake. So if you use one finger on the brake and you have it on there all the time, it's not that big of a deal. But sometimes you have to put more pressure on the brake, so you have to use two fingers. Um, so whenever you're jumping a jump, it's kind of awkward to jump with two fingers off of the throttle sometimes. So you have to really pay attention to when you put your fingers on the brake and when you have them on the throttle. Um, and another thing is not grabbing the brake too soon. Because if you grab the brake too soon, your front wheel will lock up, you'll get head shake, it won't be good. And if you grab it too late, obviously it doesn't bring the back wheel up. So you have to be perfect on your timing with when you grab the brake. Another thing you got to think about is whenever you jump a jump and land it in the nose wheelie, you have to actually jump kind of in an endo position. Because if you jump normal with the bike pitch normal, you have to use so much more power with the brake to get the back end actually to come up. So if you can start off a little bit of a head start with an endo, it's a lot easier. But you just have to be committed. You have to be committed and trust yourself. It's just all about practice. I don't know if you've picked that up yet, but basically that's all this is. It's just practice and being comfortable with what you have. So that's what I encourage you guys to do is practice and work on getting better. And I don't see any reason why you can't be better than I am at it. So I got faith in you. Another thing to think about when you're doing these is whether you want to stand up or whether you want to sit down. So sometimes you'll see a little bit of both from me. If the dirt's perfect, I'll sit down. If it's got good traction, I'm probably going to be sitting down. But if it's a little bit dry slick, if it's not the greatest dirt, sometimes it's a little bit easier to stand up, let the bike do its thing underneath you. Also, if you get going and you kind of hop before you do the nose wheel, if you're standing up, you hop on the pegs, get the weight off it, get the bike light, the brake can start working. And once the brake starts working and you get into the nose wheelie, you're going to be a lot better off, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to start and finish the nose wheelie than if you're trying to go up with the bike, basically. So kind of bounce a little bit, hop. It's kind of like a preload. You kind of preload the nose wheelie, I guess you'd say. So if you can do that, it'll help you out big time. So people think I have some sort of secret weapons in my brake pads or something, but the real secret is I just use Moto Stuff brakes. Those things are so good. I've used pretty much every different kind of brake brand that I can think of, and none of them compare. Scott's got things figured out. Geico Honda, Factory Honda, all those guys use his stuff for a reason, and it's because it's the best. So actually, right after that thing happened with Travis last year, whenever we were doing the nose wheelies at Kevin's house, he caught wind of what I use, and he went and bought a set at retail cost at Moto Stuff. So he gets it for sure. So what's the longest jump I've ever done and landed it on my front wheel? I'd say it's probably about 80 feet. There was a jump at Compound 77, which I will show you now. I did it! Ow! I got a cramp in my leg. And that's the longest jump I've ever done. I think. I mean, the jump at Wyndham's was probably a little bit bigger because it was more air time, more hang time. But I think the jump at Compound 77 was a little bit longer. So, yeah, I don't know which one I'll go with. But there was also a jump at Stewart's that was pretty big that I was landing in the NOSEWHEELIE. But I don't know, one of those two. Or three. I don't know. So I know my how-to video should probably be done somewhere other than my bed. But the problem is, I got this goofy broken collarbone right now, and I can't really ride. So I'm going to do more of these things, and hopefully they'll be a little bit better. I'll polish them up a little bit. We'll work on it. But if you guys want to see some more how-to videos of some sort, let me know what you want to see. I want to help you guys out, and I want to interact with the people. I'm here to make the people happy. That's what I do for a living or something. I don't know. I vlog for a living, kind of. Don't you have to make money at something to do it for a living? I don't really know. Whatever the case is, I like vlogging. I like hanging out with you guys. And I like dirt bikes, so it's all good. Thanks for watching. For now, enjoy some more random front wheel, NOSEWHEELIE, endo, stoppie, whatever you want to call it, nose manual action. Here you go.